Hello, all. I wanted to discuss a few things about a few experiences in my personal life that have shaped my psyche and certain traumas that scarred my ego and my psychology and my psyche for the first 2 decades of my life. I'm sure a lot of people may or may not have gone through the same experiences. Um, I'm glad that I can converse about these experiences in a second language because I can express myself in a freer way, in a better way, more accurately, without any emotional luggage. Um, so from a young age, being being sort of an immigrant in a new country, you're always sort of the odd one out. I always felt that there were cases that I forgot that. So in um, elementary school, I was very social. I was myself, very social, very likable, very open, very friendly. Had tons of friends. But there were a few cases of, I would say, combined racism slash discrimination that happened to me without any explanation that have sort of left marks in me. Um, so I used to have two friends specifically that we would hang out every day for years. We'd go to each other's houses. We would meet together, play together, do stuff together with other friends too. But there was one day after, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 years, that my circle of friends told me like, "Hey, that guy does no longer want to talk to you, and he doesn't want you in his house or to be in your house anymore." Um, that was very confusing, very cold-blooded, and it it killed my will to be friends with the other people as well, the other friends I had, because they just announced something as that, like that, in my face. No sugarcoating. Then there were other, this was discriminatory attack. Um, I think that caused some abandonment issues in me. I had them brewing because my parents used to work a lot of hours, so they didn't really have time to spend with us, with me. And that's normal. A lot of people have them, but to me it was like way worse, from what I was told. Then there were racist attacks, because being an immigrant in Greece was no fun. The early 2000s or late 90s. So again, I had friends that we were chilling good, and then one day, I don't know, maybe our football team beat theirs, and we could just end up in a fight, and they could just throw racial slurs to me, um, specifically me. I was a good player, so I was the center of our team. So they were trying to bring down our team by attacking me in a way that the others wouldn't comprehend. So because most of my friends were Greek, so they didn't really care that someone got racially attacked. Um, so that was there were a few cases like that where all these stimuli um, sort of forged me. I started wanting to have a lot of control in my life, in my own personal um, and not social life. I understood that socially I couldn't control certain situations and I couldn't understand what was going on. And racial attacks in Greece were not a topic of discussion 20 years ago. So, in the meantime, I was developing certain responses to that. I remember I had massive OCD because I wanted control, and I wanted to understand things and control them, things that directly involved my life. and I would make sure that I wasn't involved in other people's lives so that they wouldn't influence me and my decisions. So I got riddled with OCD. It was brutal. It lasted, yeah, for the majority of high school, middle school, high school. Um, that OCD also helped to avoid making any like deep connections, although somehow I managed to make two good friends. One of them is still a friend, good friend. And but yeah, he's abroad. So anyway, that OCD helped me manage things for 6 years and focus on myself and be a star in high school academically. I mean, so I was acing every exam. I was sort of an example of performance, of discipline. So, but yeah, I was a little weird because I wasn't interacting with anyone, and I had my own routines that I could fall into and shield myself. Um, which obviously didn't help moving forward in uni. By the way, in middle school, high school, racial attacks kept happening. So I felt like this is some crazy shit stuff. Like I shouldn't be even giving these people the tiny bit of space that I'm giving them, because they will find a way to attack me, even in the small interactions we have in front of others. So they will try to shame me. So at that time, I developed like a self that I am completely immune to negative feedback, and I'm completely immune to like the feeling of shame. I wasn't ashamed of anything. Like I became so self-confident that I was always cocky. So I was like always, I could bring people down in a second, and I could cut deep, um, even without like I started studying psychology and like figuring people out based on their behaviors from like little cues, and I would just use them again, these cues against them. I wasn't very, obviously it's not a likable trait, because you don't you don't just make friends by attacking others. People sort of can tell that you might do this for them as well. So anyway, I developed that sort of passive aggressive personality, and I could protect myself and defend myself and attack others if I had to, emotionally, because I was conditioned to be that way. I mean, high school is like that for everyone, in a way. But that sense of not belonging kept brewing. Like I was still not part of the Greek community. I never felt Greek. I never felt like the city I was in was welcoming to me. The people of it were welcoming. And those feelings got even worse when I got into uni. So in junior high, people are very self-aware. They know who's good looking, who's not, who's cool, who's not, who's smart, who's not, who's rich, who's not, who's social, who's weirdo, anything. Like they know, people know, kids know. The kids today are even worse, from what I can tell, because of social media. Anyway, we dodged that bullet. So in uni, as I said, I was a star student. So anyway, I got into a really good school, good uni. But the problem with a good uni is that the people that are attending that uni are also like from the high echelons of society, and they do understand social dynamics. They do understand class. They do understand race. They do understand nationality. They do understand like who's your daddy, like who's my daddy, sort of way. And they would also like bring it up like as their identity from day one, so you could know who you were dealing with and talking with. And yeah, that was 10 times worse. That experience was 10 times worse than high school, because by the time you sort of have formed or begun to form your personality, and you know who you are, and you forge your body and your mind based on that. So a lot of people would like people started dating that time. Like, can you imagine dating without like any confidence or any like feeling like a fish out of the water? Basically, I was feeling a fish out of the water, and there's no way that any girl could like be drawn to that, or like be drawn to like you being secluded and sort of a private person. Because at that time I discovered the gym, and that was, God, it helped. I put all my energy in that gym, in those weights, to a big risk to myself. By the way, I was the gym I was in was underground, really underground. I think he didn't have a license, and the owner was a drug addict, and I think he was convicted of a lot of felonies and spent time in prison. So I was interacting with him and his circle of people, and this was not something that my parents or my immediate circle could understand. Plus, there was a huge personality shift at that time. I had people tell me that, look, you're weird. You're just now weird and bigger, because I was skinny. So that was, yeah, like another part of my personality, was that I was like the body and like appearance, that they all played into me standing out anywhere I went. So anyway, the gym fixed all that. I could feel control in my actions and what I did. I could feel like I could control the reps. I could control how hard I could go. I could control the results that I would get. So that was, to me, like bingo. Happy days. You know who you are now by how much you can put in this thing, how much discipline you can put in, how much food you can eat, how many workouts you're gonna put in, how many reps. Every rep counted, every meal counted. I became, my OCD almost converted into a healthy OCD, and it helped me basically move from whatever I was. I'm like close to 6 foot, and like I'm technically 6 foot, but I was 65 kg, like extremely skinny. I mean, like 125 pounds, 130 pounds. So yeah, it was like moving the needle at that weight was very difficult. I remember also feeling, but I never felt ashamed in the gym. That was one of the things, that community of drug addicts was really, really welcoming, and they were all blasting gear like openly. But they would never like advise it on me. They would never bring it on me. They would bring like their girlfriends, and they looked like aliens to me. They were covered in tattoos. They were like people that I've never seen in my life. Like, I was shocked, but like I was also feeling like a part of a community, that underground gym, and the that community was the first community that I could feel part of and not judged. So I was like, they would all also like be shocked at how much progress I was making. I was the skinniest guy in the gym. I couldn't push like pretty much an empty bar, and by the end of like 6 months, I was like, I was ripped. I had started developing like chest, back, legs. I had started developing shoulders. I was putting in workouts that would like literally make my veins pop without any pre-workout, without any products, without any gear, whatever, without any diet. So I wasn't using, I don't know, like stuff to make me pumped. So I would work out on like, I would do abs, and I was sweaty, and people could see like the veins in my abs, and they were like shocked. They could see the veins in my arms, and they would be like, what is going on? What are you doing? Like, how is this possible? I took this as like admiration. I didn't take it as like pressure. Anywhere else I took like admiration as pressure to do better, but not in the gym. I felt like, oh wow, I'm getting some good feedback from these people, and since they were all massive and bigger and stronger than me, that meant so much to me. I was like, the gym is the gym is the best place. That gym was the best place to be. Obviously, to anyone else outside that gym, immediate family as well, was like the weirdest thing. Like early 2000s, lifting, pumping weights wasn't cool. I mean, Instagram didn't have any influencers. We had Ziz, and that guy like passed away tragically. And so yeah, that was like that social stigma of me being at the gym was still there, and the experience was not getting like I couldn't bring up the experience of what I was going through in the gym outside. I was only like looking more self-confident and bigger outside, so I couldn't really still use it to connect with others outside of the gym. My community was just those people in that underground gym, and that happened. That lasted a few good years. I'm so grateful for the gym. I carried on, obviously. The gym is like a phase in people's lives, but I realized that I couldn't keep bottling up stuff and putting all that energy and negativity in the gym. I needed to be like a bit more social. I needed some connections, and yeah, at that time I was finishing uni, and I managed to make some connections. I felt good with those connections. I was getting big on Instagram, but felt like I was having a community also outside of the real world. I had like an online community that helped a lot, but it wasn't something that could translate in like a real world. I don't think I've ever met maybe a few people in real life. The people on Instagram would not like engage in IRL, and like they wouldn't. I mean, I tried doing a meetup once and there was no interest. So I was like, wow, I'm putting in all this time, all this effort. I'm doing all these things for these people. I gotta do photo shoots for people. I would help with advertisements and stuff like that. So anyway, I was like, promos, and very few, like the real outcomes were not that great. So I was like, maybe this Instagram thing isn't for me. By the way, it really ruined my ability to like concentrate on a few people. So people who have like a lot of followers, a lot of things going on. I understand like this is a different subject, social media and its use, but I couldn't handle it mentally. It was exhausting because as a person, I like to put in and give attention to people that give attention to me. Okay, I want to double it basically, and that's sort of my weak trait with people, and it was like that for I think my Instagram skyrocketed in like a matter of maybe 2 years, and yeah, the feeling was euphoric initially. I can talk about the Instagram experience in a later discussion, later episode, but that was, I would say, a good part, but also like it opened up. I put shed light on the things that I couldn't do, like things that I couldn't manage, and things that I had to be on. I started being honest with myself, like through Instagram, and like I started seeing my limitations, like what they really are, and my needs. So, but I developed really bad habits out of this, which is why, anyway, a few years later, I had to quit. So yeah, that's the first, I would say, 2 decades of my life, and based on all these experiences, I could take certain decisions, large, very big steps, to change. So as I said, I wasn't feeling welcome in my hometown, wasn't feeling welcome in my country. I felt like I was an outsider, and the fact that I didn't have anything to keep me down, to hold me in Greece, I mean, I was like, I felt like, okay, this whole life I was not considered Greek. I was not considered like part of this. So now I can finally act on it. So one day I decided to act on it and just disappear from Greece and start a new life abroad, as some people say they've done, but I did it. So yeah, that's part two. The way I'll discuss about it in another subject because there's too many moving parts. Thank you.